think I'm ready to do this. Trev TV. I'm the Trev. Too sweet. I'm attempting the impossible. Well, I guess it depends on really who you ask. If the title didn't give you away, I'm attempting to rank all the Beatles albums from worst to best. And the only reason I say worst is because there is no worst Beatles album. It's just a matter of which one makes sense going where. And I'll explain a bit about it as I go along and why I have what where. But I've been watching a lot of other people's lists, and it's like, that looks like something we could either agree or disagree on. So, if you got the time, I got the voice. Let's attempt to rank these things. So before I start, I should explain that I'm not ranking compilations, such as Past Masters 1 and 2. I'm not even including anthology on this. I'm not including compilations. I'm not including best ofs. I'm not including lives. None of that stuff. Just what's officially recognized as their album canon. And that's 13 albums. It's a bit about my history with the Beatles. I've been listening to the Beatles as far as I can remember since I've been 6. The first song I can consciously remember hearing was A Hard Day's Night. If it wasn't A Hard Day's Night, it was 8 Days a Week. I don't remember which one was first, but I know it was one of those two. And recently, I've been rediscovering them again. Yeah, that's weird even for me. Trust me, if you know anything about me, I'm a hardcore metalhead, but I've been listening to a lot of the Beatles lately. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get started. Last on this list, and I think it's pretty much universal, so I'll add my pen to this universal truth. Yeah, The Yellow Submarine should be the last album on this list. And it makes perfect sense. If you weren't introduced to it on the 99 release, then you'll know it was really only 6 songs. 4 of them were new, stuck in between Yellow Submarine and All You Need Is Love. And then there was the score of the film, which really they only made a 15-second cameo in at the end. But of those 4 songs, 2 of them are Harrison's. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, if you want to pick highlights out of this one, not counting song 1, song 6, Hey Bulldog's been a favorite for a lot of people. I've been listening to a lot of It's All Too Much, which is a Harris song, but really it's not even an album. It should constitute as an EP, but because there's a score on the reverse side, or continuing after, it's an album. Beatles for Sale. And it's not because it's a bad album. Again, there's no such thing as a bad Beatles album. For me, what does it is, of the 14 songs on here, 6 of them are covers. I mean, they're not bad covers when you have rock and roll music, which is originally a Chuck Berry song, or Words of Love by Buddy Holly, but of the originals that you have, which is all Lennon McCartney, there's no Harrison written songs on here. But I mean, this is where 8 Days a Week is on. And for sentimental reasons, it hurts me to put it this low, but again, not a fan of covers, especially when a good chunk of your album is covers. So, like Beatles for Sale, with the Beatles, pretty much suffers the same predicament. Most of your album is covers. Only more of the covers appear on side B as opposed to the front. And you actually got a Harris song on here with Don't Bother Me. 2 Harrison songs, sorry. Well, one that he wrote and one that he sings, which is a cover. But of the covers, really, you got Money in there, Roll Over Beethoven, Please Mr. Postman, and Don't Bother Me. Don't Bother Me is a Harrison song, never mind. Of those, you got those 3. And then of the originals, All My Loving. I mean, that was basically what shot him to the moon, right? Again, not because it's a bad album. Oh, and I Want to Hold You, or I Want to Be Your Man's on here. The one they wrote for the Stones. Yeah. Again, not a bad album. Just a lot of covers. Their debut album is number 10 for me. And you know what I'm going to say already, so I'm just not going to beat that dead horse anymore. But the originals speak for themselves. Song 1, I Saw Her Standing There. Please Please Me, the title track for the album, is on there as well. Love Me Do. You know, there's hits. There's the early hits. And for the covers, you got Twist and Shout. So it's a stacked album. Again, that one. Let It Be is down number 9, not because it's a bad album, because again, no such thing. The fact that there's 2 versions of this album, there's this one, which I'm talking about, which we all grew up on, up until about 2003 when they released the naked version, which basically just takes Phil Spector out of the equation. So, I mean, you can decide which of the 2 you like the best between that, but I mean, either way, you still get Dig a Pony, Across the Universe, I Got a Feeling, Let It Be, the title track, Get Back. And I mean, really, if you haven't checked it out now, thanks to the Get Back documentary, it's at least worth a listen. You know, it's a good album. It's just unfortunate that I had to have 2 go-arounds to have whatever's the right version for you. Hard Day's Night, number 8. The first album with no covers. It's a complete soundtrack for the movie of the same name. And a great soundtrack it is. I mean, you got the title track, A Hard Day's Night. And I Love Her, If I Fell, Can't Buy Me Love, Anytime at All. Like, the hits just keep coming on this album. And like I said, it's a great album. Even though it's short, it's relatively short, being it has 13 songs on it. It doesn't even pass the 35-minute mark. But still a good album. Help. Another soundtrack. And another good soundtrack. I mean, you got 2 Harrison songs on here, which is a great thing. And I mean, You Like Me Too Much automatically stands out as an early classic in my mind for him. But on top of that, you got the title track. You got to Hide Your Love Away, Ticket to Ride. I mean, that's an amazing song in itself. And you've got Yesterday. Of course you do. So if those reasons alone are enough to let you have a good time with this record, then I don't know what to tell you, but it's a good record. I hope I don't get too much heat for this one. Yes, it was innovative. Yes, it was different. Yes, it was psychedelia at its best. And yes, it was a very important piece of rock and roll. But aside from 4, maybe 5 songs, it's not that strong, even though it's different for what the Beatles were known for making at that time. I mean, you take the title track and the reprise of it, Little Help from My Friends, Lucy in the Sky, The Benefit of Mr. Kite, and A Day in the Life. The rest is what you make it out to be. But I mean, it's got some good classics. I mean, Within and Without You is the only Harrison song on here, but it's a great piece of sitar luxury music, so enjoy that. Other than that, I think it deserves to be where it is, as influential as it is, and please don't be too mad at me for putting it so low. Magical Mystery Tour kicks off at number 5. And if Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane were on Sgt. Pepper, I'm sure Sgt. Pepper would have been a much stronger album. And I'm thankful that they were left for the Mystery Tour album. Because really, those 5 singles on the back are what pushed it. Really, I mean, side 1 is awesome with Magical Mystery Tour, Fool on the Hill, and The Walrus. But when you got Hello, Goodbye, Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, Baby You're a Rich Man, All You Need Is Love on the reverse side, of course you're going to sell a record like that. So I think it deserves to be ahead of Sgt. Pepper, but if those changes were made, probably not. Rubber Soul. Probably the second best of the earliest Beatles albums. Well, of course it is, because it's number 4. But I love when the seeds of change are planted, and this is totally what this album is to me, is the seeds of change. It's very evident with songs like Norwegian Wood, with Drive My Car, with Nowhere Man, with Think For Yourself. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, you also have typical Beatles classics like In My Life. Amazing album, and its sequel is better. Revolver. Where to begin? This whole album, from cover to what's on the record, is the nicest piece of abstract art I've ever seen. Ever. I mean, between Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, Here, There, and Everywhere, Yellow Submarine, For No One, Tomorrow Never Knows, Gotta Get You Into My Life. There's just so many amazing songs on here that where to begin is the only legitimate question you can ask. It's that good of an album. Yeah, White Album's at number 2. Why wouldn't I put this number 1? Well, A, it would make a much better, stronger single album. Which means B, for a double album that has 32 songs on it, there's a lot of skipping. I mean, when you have songs like Wild Honey Pie, of course you're going to skip. But when you look past the skippable material you got back in the USSR, you got Dear Prudence, you got While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Happiness Is a Warm Gun, Blackbird, Don't Pass Me By. I mean, a lot of people don't like Don't Pass Me By. I don't mind it. It's a great song for Ringo. Your Blues, Sexy Sadie, Helter Skelter. I mean, the only thing missing really is the single version of Revolution. And if you wanted to throw Hey Jude on here, that would have made it amazing too. I mean, those 2 songs alone could have cut out half the filler. Maybe all of it, who knows. But as I said, it would make a strong single album with less tracks, but they did that. Abbey Road's my number 1, and I'll explain. Yes, there's the medley on the B-side, but that's after Here Comes the Sun. I mean, the medley itself is very hard to skip any part of it because it blends so well together, but not looking at the medley, looking at Here Comes the Sun come together, something like 2 Harrison classics are on that right there. Oh Darling, I Want You, She's So Heavy. Like, it's a very hard album to push the skip button to, and it was a good indicator for what was going to come for their solo careers, being it was their official last album, not last album, but their official last album. And that's number 1 to me. That's always my go-to. Even though I bought Sgt. Pepper first, even though my first vinyl was Revolver, Abbey Road's always been my favorite. So that's another one from Trev TV. I have to say this one was a little hard to make, but this is how I feel on those albums right now. I mean, it could change tomorrow, it could change in a week, but very doubtful. I mean, I think, like I said in the beginning, I was ready to make this one, and there it is. So whether I was ready or not, it's there. But either way, if you're still here, if you're still listening to me, that's a great thing. I do appreciate that gesture. Don't think I don't appreciate it. But since you are here, give me a like. That red button that says subscribe all over it, you know you want to. We're climbing up to 100. We're at 67 right now. So let's get to 100. Subscribe makes you feel good. Socials in the description down below. Moving forward, I want to do tomorrow. I don't know how I want to approach either one of them, because tomorrow's not a good day for me. I don't think it's a good day for a lot of people, but tomorrow's not a good day. But either way, in the meantime, in between time, be looking for more videos from the Trev. Later.